Hey, welcome to the Wild Game Cooking channel. We're here to talk turkey today. It's turkey season. In our last video, we showed you how to properly dress a wild turkey. Today, we're going to show you some ideas on how to cook that wild turkey once you got it. We're going to do a gumbo. Mark, tell them a little bit about what we're going to do.
Man, you know, we're going to utilize the whole beak to tail movement these days that you're hearing about. And the lesser known quality that you hear about these days is, you know, the legs and the thighs. It's what most people throw in the ditch. Usually everyone fillets the breast out like we showed you, and they never even take the legs and thighs out. Yes, they're tough, and yes, they're really dark, and they're really rich. But when you utilize the right way, they're perfect for gumbo. They're good for turkey salads, things like that. You can confit it, you can boil it like we did. But all we did was throw it in a pot, and we cut up some celery and some onions, bell pepper. We did some Cajun seasoning, a little of our friends from Boar's Not Out, White Lightning, and really just a little bit of chicken base just to fortify it with a little additional chicken flavor. And we cooked it down real low, brought it to a boil, and then let it cook on the stove from about 9:30 in the morning to about 4:30 in the afternoon. And then you'll see we'll also took the turkey out, and then we just pulled the meat off the bone. You know, got rid of all the veins and extra little pieces, and you've got this meat that's been pulled off the bone and chopped up, ready to go. Next thing is a little bit of a country pleasing andouille sausage, and our vegetables that we're going to use in our roux, and we're going to put together a gumbo from something that people normally throw in the ditch.
Yeah. So we're going to show you how to make this wild turkey gumbo using those leg quarters off the wild turkey we took. This is the stock that Mark was telling you about that he made, and you can see it's got some really good color on it. It's got some of that Cajun seasoning still in it, but it's really fortified with those flavors like he's talking about from those herbs and the veg he put in it. And of course, that's what got this turkey meat tender. It started it. So after he got it all pulled up, we've got about 1.5 pounds that you're going to need to do this gumbo. And you can use breast meat if you want to. This is just a great place to use that whole animal. So use those leg quarters that you know normally would throw away because they're tough. And we've got 1.5 pounds of the andouille sausage as well. So we're going to get started. We're going to show you how to make a roux. Then we're going to get our vegetables in there, get them sweating a little bit, and we're going to add our sausage and our meat, add this stock, and we're going to make a big pot of wild turkey gumbo. So before we get started, let's talk about our setup, what we've got going on here. First, we've got one of these Camp Chef outdoor double propane burners, and then we've got our Lodge cast iron pot for making this gumbo. You can cook it indoors on your stove if you want, but you know, everything tastes better cooked outside. So the first thing we're going to get doing is making this roux. Mark's going to start with a cup of oil and a cup of flour. And the biggest thing with the roux is you want to keep the heat low and you want to keep it moving so it doesn't burn. A roux is not one of those things that you can walk away from. You got to stay on top of it and keep stirring it to keep it moving so it doesn't burn, because if it gets too dark on you, if it scorches, you're going to have to throw it out and start over. You just want to adjust your heat where it's low enough to cook the roux without burning it, and that's where it's coming in. Stirring it constantly and keeping it moving is going to keep it from burning.
We're just going to add just a hair. We'll modify it just to make sure we got
right thickness,
the right consistency for our roux. So that cup and cup is kind of just a starting point, the benchmark. And yeah, see that had that thickness. That's a little thicker right there. That's going to be just about right. So all we're going to do is sit here and enjoy a Bloody Mary or a cold beer on the porch while this roux develops and blossoms and makes the flavor for this turkey as the base of this turkey gumbo.
It's going to take at least a good half hour to get this roux to the right consistency. If you notice it cooking too fast, back the heat back down a little. We don't want it to burn. I can't stress that enough. And you know, when making a gumbo, the hardest part of it is really getting the roux right. And you can start with some store-bought roux, but I think it's much better if you go ahead and make your own. Just stay on top of it.
What you're seeing now is sort of the stage 2, starting to get some color. And this is where you really have to start paying attention to make sure that it doesn't burn on the bottom. You notice it kind of thinned up just a little bit, and it's starting to get aromatic. You're starting to smell kind of a little nutty flavor coming out of that roux.
All right, we got this roux about as dark as we want, and that's what you want to see. It's really fragrant. So now we're going to start putting our veg in. We're putting in the celery, onion, and a green pepper. We're going to start sauteing these off inside the roux.
Great thing about this is that once you get your roux the color you want, you start adding this veg, it kind of stops the browning process. So you get it just right and it don't go past the point of no return.
We're going to take the andouille sausage over to the flat top and kind of brown it off, get some color on it. We'll add the garlic in here at the very last because we don't want it to chance burning. You always want to add that garlic just a little bit before you're going to add the broth. We're going to use the Backwoods pellet chef to brown off the andouille sausage. You'll see we've got it set up with a flat top here. That's the cool thing about this pellet chef. It's a pellet smoker, but it's so much more. It has a flat surface, has a basket you can drop in to deep fry. You can also grill smoke on it just like you can any regular pellet cooker. Mark's going to get these andouilles working up here on this flat top. We just want a little color on them, a little brownness. And it just makes that gumbo a little richer, browning your sausage up like this.
All right, this sausage is just about ready. You can see it's all nice, getting a little crunch to it. It's rendered out a lot of that extra fat. And you've got that flavor boosted up real good. So we're going to pull this off of there. Once we get it all pulled in, we'll assemble the gumbo, let it simmer a little bit, and let it all come together. All right, we're back on the fire over here. Our roux is ready. Our vegetables are tender. First thing we want to do is add our garlic at the end to make sure it doesn't burn. Once this garlic's incorporated nice in here,
you just want to give it about 30 seconds, to a minute. That's enough to get that garlic fragrant opened up.
You can already smell it.
Then we're going to be ready for that browned andouille sausage that we did here.
There it comes.
Just add it to the pot. Get those flavors working. You just want to get everything incorporated. Then we're going to start adding that turkey stock that Mark made.
You can see it's all slowly coming together, layer at a time. And you see this turkey's left over here. That's going to be at the very end. It's legs and thighs from a wild turkey are real stringy, and we want to hold some of this chunk together. If you throw it in and let it simmer too long, it all falls apart and it just gets real stringy and doesn't have a real good texture in the mouth.
Also, you notice we hadn't had any seasoning yet. This is the point where you want to hit it with some Creole or Cajun seasoning. Whatever your favorite brand is. I have some Louisiana here today. You can check out the one we use, this Louisiana Cajun season. Of course, use any kind of Cajun season you want. And we're going to keep the flavors going to keep it kind of that Cajun turkey, wild turkey gumbo.
We're kind of incorporated. Everything's pretty much cooked and tender and ready to go. We can go ahead, we're going to drop our bay leaves in, and we can go ahead and start adding this turkey stock. Slowly, a little at a time. We'll bump our heat up a little bit because this turkey stock is kind of room temp. We're going to slowly start adding this and stirring it. We want to continually stir this because this is a flour base. You want to make sure that the flour gets incorporated with all the liquid and you don't have any clumps.
To start with, we had about 2 quarts of turkey stock. When Mark boiled the turkeys, it made about 1.5 gallons. So we've got plenty. You can always freeze any leftover stock that you had from boiling those leg quarters, and it's great to make other dishes with, to add to wherever you need some turkey stock.
Once we get this almost up to a boil, we're going to turn the fire way, way, way down, put the lid on it. We're going to let it simmer for a little while, and then about 15-20 minutes before it's actually finished, we'll check it for seasoning. But at that point, we'll add our turkey and we'll let it finish off, and our rice is probably just about ready to be done. I'll go check on it right now. All right, pretty much everything's in here except for our final seasoning round and our turkey. We made the roux. We put the onions, celery, the bell pepper. We put our seasoning in there. We browned our sausage off as gone in. And then right at the very end, we put our garlic in our roux, and then we actually added our turkey stock into here. Once that turkey stock gets hot and all this sort of comes together, we're going to put the top on it, turn it down real low, and let it simmer and let all the flavors develop. One thing you're noticing here is at the very end, we're not going to add any okra. And there's 2 different styles of gumbo. You're going to see there's a Creole gumbo, which a lot of folks use okra, and they use tomatoes, a lot of different things. This is more along the lines of a Cajun gumbo. Cajun gumbos are typically like a meat and gravy. They'll have some sausage, they'll have whatever type of protein you're normally using, and then a really fortified stock and vegetables. So along the lines of whatever you're, based on really where you're from, there's no wrong way to do this. This just happens to be the style of gumbo we're making today.
If you like okra and tomatoes, you can add them to this gumbo. We like it this way, and for wild turkey, it's going to make a really awesome pot of gumbo. So as we're hitting a boil here on this gumbo, it's time to go ahead and cut that heat back a little bit, get the lid on it, and let's really let it simmer, let some of those flavors develop. All right, we've had this gumbo simmering for about an hour with the lid on, but now it's time to start adding our wild turkey meat to it. So Mark, tell them about what we're adding here.
This is the turkey that we boiled. We boiled it down and we made our stock with it, and then we actually pulled it off the bone and then chopped it up. If you put it in there without chopping it up, some long stringy meat, it just doesn't have the mouth feel that you're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and start adding this back to our gumbo that's been simmering for about an hour. We got a good ratio of sausage to turkey leg and thigh meat. We got a good gravy going there. We got our pot going. We're going to put the lid on it, and we're going to let it sit there and heat back up for about 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to plate this thing up, add a little filet, and we're going to get happy.
We're going to show you how you're supposed to eat a bowl of gumbo. All right, we let this wild turkey gumbo simmer for about 30 minutes, and that's all me and Mark can stand here. We got to make a bowl of it. We're going to show you how the proper way to serve it is, recap kind of what we did here. First, we need a big spoon of rice, and then Mark, this is 2 cups of rice, 4 cups of water, a little bit of butter, and a little bit of chicken stock in the rice. And it's pretty simple. Just do it on your stove top inside. You just want it to be extra long grain rice. It goes great with this gumbo. Now we're going to get in here, get us some of this wild turkey gumbo. You want the sausages, the turkey meat, the peppers, the onions, the celery. You want to get it all. Make sure you get some of that good gravy that's in there.
Dude,
that makes a bowl.
Wee.
Man, Mark, I'm telling you, that's good stuff.
What do we need now?
For me, the perfect gumbo needs just a few other things here. You need a little bit of fresh scallion and green onion. Scatter that around the top of it. You got to have that filet powder. That's what really makes a bowl of gumbo. Just spread that over it, and then some good hot sauce. And Mark's introduced me to this Daigle's Cajun hot sauce. Now, I'm usually a Louisiana man, but I'm going to go for this today, and I know it's going to make a good bowl of gumbo. I just hit it with a little bit of that hot sauce. Son, what are you talking about?
I tell you, there is no better way to utilize the legs and the thighs of wild turkey than to make this rich pot of Cajun turkey gumbo.
Hey, we appreciate you checking out this wild turkey gumbo recipe we did for you today. I know that you're going to have to try this next time you get your wild turkey. Mark, let's go ahead and sample, see what we got working with it. I can't wait.
A little rice, a little sausage, get the perfect bite going.
Ooh-wee! Man, that's good. That rouge brought that richness, man. You pick up them spices from that Cajun seasoning. That wild turkey, it's got a great flavor. You know, it may be wild, but when you cook it this way, it takes all that out of it. All you get is this deep richness of flavors that's developed in this pot of gumbo. Anytime you're cooking in some cast iron like this, you know it's going to be good.
It really is. It's, this is comfort food. You're utilizing something like I said that most people throw in the ditch, and you're making it something special to feed your friends and family.
Hey, if y'all like what we're doing here at the Wild Game Cooking Channel, and y'all share that same passion for the outdoors and for cooking what you catch or what you hunt, subscribe to our channel. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. As always, get out there and get something to eat.
Y'all have a good day.